I got some of these, I don't know the points. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video I have a giant Trader Joe's grocery haul that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. It's been a little bit since I've been there, and Trader Joe's is one of those places that I've got some favorite items I like to stock up on when I go there, and we just needed a lot of different produce and proteins and stuff like that because we've just needed some groceries. So it's been a really busy week. I'm honestly feeling pretty exhausted right now and making sure to have my coffee because I need some caffeine, but I kept putting off getting groceries because things just kept coming up. And so our fridge is pretty much empty and we just really needed to stock up on some produce, like I said. I got a lot of freezer items because there's a lot of staples from Trader Joe's I like to get from there. And I'm just gonna be walking through everything today, sharing the WeightWatchers points, the nutrition information. I'll pop the labels on the screen. And then at the end of this video, I actually will have a clip where I show shopping with me so you can see the prices for all the individual items and where I get them in the store. But if you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Hype it up if you have the option. I really appreciate it, and your guys' support really does help me out with that. Sharing my videos, telling others about them, it really does make a difference. So, like I said, we went to Trader Joe's today, and actually, shout out to Carol. We met a follower while we were there. I feel like it's always Trader Joe's that we run into someone, and so that's always really cool, and it's nice to get to interact with you guys in real life. So that was nice, and it was nice meeting you, Carol. But anyway, let's get started with the produce. I'm just gonna walk through how I use these items to stay on track with my weight loss journey. Some of these items I buy every time. Other times I like to mix up the different like vegetables and meats that I'm buying just to keep things interesting and mix it up. But starting with the produce that I grabbed today. So we needed some zucchini. I really have been using this a lot more lately actually because it's such a quick and easy vegetable that I can either chop up and cook in a pan or just pop it on a tray in the oven if I have the oven going. So like the other day I made some roasted salmon and I also just roasted up zucchini to toss in the pasta, and it just makes it so much quicker. But zucchini really helps to bulk meals up without adding a bunch of like flavor or texture. So that's why I really like using it, but it's 0 points on WeightWatchers. I got this bag of green beans. I was thinking of doing some breaded green beans. We have a restaurant near us where they make tempura breaded green beans and it is the best. It's one of their appetizers and I kind of want to try to make a lightened up version of that. So I got this bag of fresh green beans. They're nice and firm, which will be perfect for making the breaded version, but 0 points on WeightWatchers, and I'm really excited to see how that turns out. Then I think I'm going to do some type of stir fry this week. So I got some peas, which are 0 points on WeightWatchers, a nice source of fiber. And then I also got some mushrooms, as well as some carrot sticks. So I thought this would be a good mix of vegetables that I can just toss in a pan. Usually I use a little bit of toasted sesame oil. It is points, but it adds such good flavor. So I'll put a splash of that with these different vegetables. Maybe I'll chop up an onion, which I've got some in the fridge, or even like a bell pepper or something, but it'll be a nice filling vegetable mix. I add some soy sauce in or some teriyaki. Sometimes I do like sriracha, but we'll have this with like fried rice or sesame noodles, and they're all 0 points on WeightWatchers. Other than that, I really like to use these carrots for poke bowls. So I'll do like a base of jasmine rice. I'll do some spicy tuna, some crab, the carrots, cucumber, any other vegetables that work well with it. Sometimes I'll do like some wonton strips, but that'll be a nice option to have these in the fridge. I'll probably just use this whole bag for the stir fry of the peas. I grabbed some fresh cut pineapple, which actually, this looks super ripe, so I'll have to eat this pretty quickly, but this is always one of those things that it's worth the convenience for me to just buy it pre-cut like this. I like to use this a lot of the times for pizza bakes. If I do like Canadian bacon and barbecue sauce, that's one of my all-time favorite meals. And I really like to get the takeout version from Pizza Hut, so it's nice to be able to make a lightened up version at home with it. But if I don't use it for that, I usually just snack on the pineapple as a 0 point sweet treat, or I have it with like a snack plate or just after I finish my breakfast or lunch. I also got grapes for that same reason, so I really like to use grapes for snack plates. These ones just look better today. That's always how I choose between the red and green grapes. Although I usually prefer red, I still really like the green ones, but they're nice to have as an option on a snack plate or after I finish my breakfast or lunch and I want something sweet. Same concept that I do with my apple. I just have this habit where the second I finish a meal, I want something sweet. I just crave it. So having fruit to satisfy that craving really helps. I recently shared that in one of my like 20 helpful weight loss tips videos, but it is something that I have stuck with for years now and it really has made a difference. So that's why I grabbed some more grapes, and then of course also some apples, which I couldn't decide which apples I wanted today. So I recently went to the store because I was just out of apples. Like I said, we have needed to go grocery shopping for a while now. So I just ran out to grab the apples so I can have one every day. But I got Cosmic Crisp, and I've been getting Honey Crisp more recently, but the Cosmic was really good again. They started getting kind of funky tasting. Now they're back to being good. I got some Cosmic and some Honey Crisp, so I can just decide the night of which one I want. Then we got bananas, which we use for cereal, for protein shakes, smoothies. Adam brings them just plain to work. Same with oranges. So he just got a big bag of oranges that are 0 points, and he can bring this with his lunches. It's a nice, quick and easy thing that he can just grab, and it helps to just make him more full throughout the day and incorporate more 0 point foods. So I mentioned veggie mix is what I use the zucchini for sometimes, and that's also why I got some bell peppers. I also just use them for different recipes. So even the other day, like I said, I cut up the zucchini for pasta. I also like to do the same thing with red peppers and just roast them in the oven. Or if we're doing like a taco dish or something like that, I can quickly chop them up and then saute them with some onion and make some nice sauteed pepper onion mix for sandwiches or tacos, things like that. Then really quickly, a couple frozen produce items I got. I really like this roasted corn from Trader Joe's. This is so nice for soup, especially ramen soup. I've been really enjoying adding this into it. So it has just a nice roasted flavor to it. It's corn and it's 0 points, but it's a nice convenient item to have in the freezer. Sometimes I don't want to have to open a full can of vegetables, so it's nice to just be able to pour what I want out of this and just keep it in the freezer. Same with these peppers and onions. So if I don't have a veggie mix prepped, I have this to go to. I like to use this for eggs or again, soup sometimes, or if I'm doing like a quick taco or like enchilada recipe, and again, I don't have the peppers and onions, I can just grab this out of the freezer and heat it up quickly. So this is a nice convenient option to have, and I really like the flavor of it. I'm kind of picky with frozen peppers and onions. I don't know why, but this one's really good. And then for my yogurt bowls, I really like this from Trader Joe's. It's their Berry Cherry Berry Blend. So it's got some cherries in it, which I really like, but also raspberries. And I've been really craving raspberries in my yogurt bowls lately, so this has been a really good mix. It is 0 points on WeightWatchers, and usually what I do is I just pour some into a bowl, pop it in the microwave until it's pretty much heated up, and then I add the yogurt on top and some type of granola or cereal. But I've really been enjoying this specific mix. A couple canned items I did get. So we just needed some diced tomatoes. I like to get both. So they've got just plain diced tomatoes, and then they've also got some with green chilies, which this works really well when I make like my taco mix, which has corn, beans, and then some tomatoes and chilies. Or I like to use just the plain one for different pasta dishes. And then for pizzas and things that I need like tomato sauce for, I switch off between this tomato sauce, which is just more on the runny side, or I like to make it with tomato paste, and that way it can be a little bit thicker, and I feel like it has a little bit better flavor actually. For years I've mostly only gotten this, but I started getting the tomato paste, and I find that I actually like this a little bit more on like pizza and stuff, but I just whisk it with some water and some seasonings, and it makes a nice, perfect sauce for things like that. Then moving on to a couple random pantry items that I grabbed. We needed some more roasted red peppers, which these are one of my favorite items to get anytime at the store. I like the Trader Joe's brand, but sometimes I'll just get the regular ones as well. They just are in water, so they're 0 points, and it's really nice to chop them up to add to pasta or even just like quick rice bowls. Sometimes I like to put them on sandwiches. I used to work at Potbelly and they have a Mediterranean sandwich. Actually, that was when I was first introduced to these peppers, but we would do roasted red peppers, hummus, artichokes, cucumbers. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. That sandwich was always my favorite. So that's what I like to use these for, just a bunch of different recipes like that. Even like a tzatziki bowl or mixed with falafel. These are nice and flavorful. Okay, I hadn't gotten this salsa in a while. It is their cowboy caviar. And when I saw it today, I was specifically craving it with eggs. So that's probably what I'll use it for. I feel like even a nice skillet with like roasted potatoes, which I should have gotten potatoes, but I might have some in the freezer that I can use up. But either way, I feel like this would be really good with some scrambled eggs like that. But this is their cowboy caviar. It's got corn, black bean, and pepper, and it's just a salsa. 25 calories, 1 point for 2 tablespoons on WeightWatchers. It's got 6 carbs, 1 gram of fiber, 2 grams of sugar, and 1 gram of protein. So I really like the flavor of this, and it's been a long time since I've had it, so I'm excited to have that as an option. Also, they're pickle chips. So I always forget about these, and I have to go get them right before we check out. They're in the refrigerated section. It's just their kosher dill pickled chips. They also have spears, but I prefer to get the chips like this. It just works better for like sandwiches and burgers, and I feel like that's what I use these for the most. Also, I like to chop them up and add them to bowls if I make like a burger bowl or something. These are 0 points and just something I always like to have stocked up in the fridge. I just finished my jar of them actually yesterday. Okay, we needed some more peanut butter, so this has become my favorite peanut butter option. It is 5 points on WeightWatchers for 2 tablespoons, although I don't always use that serving. It's 190 calories, 16 grams of fat, 3 grams of fiber, 7 carbs, 2 grams of sugar, and 8 grams of protein. And this is the creamy salted version. I really like to use this for apple nachos. Specifically, this one drizzles nicely. It's kind of more on the runny side for a peanut butter. So it works well on apple nachos. I like to add a little bit to yogurt bowls sometimes. And then whenever I make my Greek yogurt dip that has like peanut butter, honey, and cinnamon, this peanut butter is perfect for that. Most of the time, that's what I use this for. Also, if I make a PB&J sandwich, which I sometimes randomly crave those. But we just needed more peanut butter. I needed some onion salt, and I really like this one from Trader Joe's. So I grabbed another one of these, and I just use this for a bunch of different recipes. It's just a staple item that I use. I got some of these flatbreads. These are the regular ones. They do have a wheat option, which I think is like a point less, but we tried both and I prefer these. For half of the flatbread, it's 2 points on WeightWatchers, so an entire one is 4 points, which really isn't bad for the size and what you can make these into. But for half of it, it is 90 calories, 2 points, 1.5 grams of fat. It's got 17 carbs, 3 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugar, and 4 grams of protein. One flatbread has 8 grams of protein in it, and a lot of the times I like to just use these as sandwiches actually. They work well to do like pizzas and keep them like a flatbread, but I also find that they just like fold nicely, that it works well to do little flatbreads with some protein, some type of vegetable, some cheese, kind of like a quesadilla. I like to use like taco meat, shredded cheese, and maybe some peppers or something and make a really quick like folding flatbread out of it. But there's so much you can do with these, and I just haven't had them in a while, so I was craving them specifically, and they'll be nice and convenient to make some quick meals with. I needed some seaweed crisps the other day and I didn't have any, so I grabbed this. They had like a couple like multi-packs of them, but I just got the one, and it is their roasted seaweed. It's 0 points on WeightWatchers. For half the package, it is 30 calories, 2 grams of fat, 1 carb, and 1 gram of protein. And these are just really nice to use for different recipes like poke bowls. I like to kind of crunch them up, and it just gives such good flavor that makes it taste a little bit more like sushi to me. They also work well in ramen, and they just add some nice like saltiness flavor to things. Okay, then 2 more random like pantry items. So another really good topping on ramen, these are their fried shallots, which I think this is a newer item. We've tried them once and we already went through the bag. We really liked them, but they just work as a nice topper to add some good flavor to things, whether it's a pasta dish or, like I said, soup. That's what I use these for the most, but even like a barbecue pizza bake, stuff like that. For 1 tablespoon, it's 1 point on WeightWatchers and 25 calories. It's 2 grams of fat, 2 carbs, 2 grams of sugar, and I just like the flavor of these. They're very similar to like the crispy fried onions that I like to use, but I feel like they have a little bit more of a bite to them. But then this was something new that I hadn't seen before, a similar product, but it is crispy garlic. So they've got it on a little rice bowl there, you can see, and I feel like this will be a really nice topper for things like that. It's 35 calories and 1 point for 1 tablespoon, 1.5 grams of fat, 4 carbs, 2 grams of fiber, and then it says less than a gram of protein. But I'm excited to try these out and see how they are. Hopefully they're not like over the top garlicky, but a really good garlicky flavor. I'm sure they will be. I think they'll also be good in soups, but I'll see what I end up doing with these. Okay, moving on to some dairy items. So I like a lot of the options for cheese at Trader Joe's. I've mentioned that I'm buying sliced cheese more lately, but I really do like their shredded options. They're definitely the lowest point options I've been able to find. Even when I get like the reduced fat shredded cheese from like Walmart, Aldi, Meijer, it's usually 4 points for the serving, but with this one it is 3 points. And actually if you have half of it, it's only 1. But for the quarter cup serving, it's 3 points on WeightWatchers, 80 calories, 4 grams of fat, and 8 grams of protein. And this is just their 3-blend mix. So it's got mozzarella, Monterey Jack, and cheddar cheese. They're all just light cheeses, and they work well for tacos, pizzas, pasta, even like mac and cheese sometimes. It's just a nice versatile option that I can use for a lot of different meals. And then I also got the light mozzarella, which is only 2 points for the serving. So sometimes even just using a 1 point serving is nice when I'm making like, again, a sandwich or something like that, or a pizza. Usually for a pizza though, I'll just do the full 2 point serving. But for the quarter cup, it is 60 calories, 2 grams of fat. It's got 3 carbs and 7 grams of protein. And this one actually does melt pretty well, which is nice because sometimes with the reduced fat or with shredded cheeses in general, they don't melt as well. But I find that this one does really nicely. I do use it for pasta sometimes, for different rice bowls, pretty much anything that I need cheese for. It even goes well in eggs. But speaking of eggs, you guys have gotten me so hooked on putting cottage cheese in my eggs actually. This is the low fat cottage cheese they have. It's 2 points for the serving of a half cup, which usually I don't use that much in my eggs. I just do like a scoop or two. But for that serving, it is 2 points on WeightWatchers, 90 calories, 2 grams of fat, 5 carbs, 4 grams of sugar, and 13 grams of protein. So it's a nice high protein option. And I am not a plain cottage cheese eater. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I have been mixing it in with different things and it does add a nice cheesy flavor, especially with eggs. It tastes very similar to the Trader Joe's egg bites that I like, and I just feel like it's a nice quick and easy option to up the protein. So it melts pretty well and I've been just trying to incorporate it more and more. Then I also got some of these Jarlsberg Light Swiss slices. So these are 2 points per slice. They have 50 calories, 2.5 grams of fat, 1 carb, and 7 grams of protein in a slice. And these I really like to use for burgers, sandwiches, tuna melts. Sometimes I do chop them up and add them to bowls, especially if I do like a Reuben bowl where I want Swiss cheese and I don't have shredded cheese. I just take a slice or two and I cut it up into little diced pieces and add that to the bowl. And that way it's nice to just mix it all together. And it's got a great flavor. So I really like this. I like that it's only 2 points. And I think 2 slices are 3 points, so that's even better. I grabbed some of these Baby Bell light cheeses. So these are 2 points per little round like this. They are 50 calories, 3 grams of fat, and 5 grams of protein. And these are just my favorite for snack plates. I really like to have these with some grapes, maybe some like chicken salad or tuna, some crackers, either cucumbers or pickles. It's really easy to just throw a quick snack plate together. And this is like one of my favorite cheese options to add to those plates. Then I got one of my favorite dips from there, which is their spinach and kale Greek yogurt dip. And to be honest, I don't really like kale that much, but in this dip, it is really good. And this just reminds me of a regular like spinach dip that I used to like with like Hawaiian bread or chips. I feel like we used to buy like a jar of it and it was definitely a higher point option, but this one is made with Greek yogurt. You can have actually, I think 2 of the servings for still 1 point, but 1 serving of 2 tablespoons is 1 point on WeightWatchers, 30 calories, 2 grams of fat, 2 carbs, and 1 gram of protein. And yeah, I think it's up to like 5 tablespoons for 1 point. I haven't had this in a while, so I need to double check, but I don't think they've changed it. And it works really well for snack plates, also for rice bowls. Sometimes I just want something really quick, so I'll just do like a base of rice. If I've got some like chicken breast or blackened chicken in the freezer, I could just pop in the air fryer really quickly. I'll do some peppers or a veggie mix if I have it, and then a big scoop of this and just mix it all together, and it is so good. And then the other dip that we got today, this is Adam's favorite, and it's one of their newer dips. So it's their spicy and sweet creamy pepper dip. It kind of reminds me of like pimento cheese, but it does have a kick to it and it works well just as a snack with like crackers or chips. I have made it into a pasta dish with some imitation crab and that was delicious. We might be doing that again with this. For the serving of 2 tablespoons, it is 3 points on WeightWatchers, 60 calories. It's got 7 carbs, 6 grams of sugar, and 1 gram of protein. Then speaking of imitation crab, usually I can't find it at Trader Joe's, but today they had a new product and it is their surimi imitation crab. This is the flake style, which usually I like to get the sticks, but the flake works just as well. It actually shreds up a little bit easier for things like pasta. It's 2 points for the serving of a half cup, which I think is a little bit lower than the normal one I get. So 70 calories for that serving, 9 carbs, 3 grams of sugar, and 8 grams of protein. And I use this for so many different things. I really like it in pasta, like I mentioned, with some type of like either grilled up zucchini or something, or I like to make a crab rangoon pasta. I also use it in bowls all the time. If I'm making like a poke or sushi inspired type bowl, this imitation crab works perfect for that. So I'm excited to try out the Trader Joe's brand and I was happy to see that they had that. Then I did grab some ground chicken. So I got 2 pounds here. This is 0 points on WeightWatchers. It's 92% lean. For the the serving of 4 ounces, like I said, it's 0 points, 170 calories. It's got 9 grams of fat and 22 grams of protein in that serving. And a lot of the times I make this into chicken burgers, chicken meatballs. I like to make it into taco meat, but I always buy 2 pounds at once because then I can just prep whatever meat it is all together and then I have it ready in the fridge. So I'll make it for the meal as I'm making it, but then having the leftovers is so nice. Unless I'm doing a Sunday reset, then I just make the meat for whatever. I'm not actually making it for a meal, but I do prep it ahead again into like taco meat or something like that. Then I also grabbed some chicken breast, which I've been getting a lot more and just marinating it myself, grilling it up and putting it either in the fridge or the freezer so that I have it as an option that I can quickly reheat for bowls and sandwiches. Sometimes I like to do quick and easy wraps, so having that chicken ready is really nice for that. And then even just like pasta works really well in. This is also 0 points on WeightWatchers, and for the serving of 4 ounces, it's got 24 grams of protein. So it's just a nice high protein option that's 0 points. I try to incorporate something like that with all of my meals, so it's just always nice to have some options. And again, I buy it in doubles so that I can just prep it all at once and it lasts for a few days in the fridge. Then I got some bacon, which I really like their bacon. Every time I get the Trader Joe's bacon and I make it, I'm like, okay, I need to remember to get this every single time because it always just ends up being my favorite out of all the different brands that we have. I do like the Aldi one as well, but I think this is definitely my favorite. And I like that it's a point per slice or 2 points for 2 slices. So the serving is 2 slices, 60 calories, 3 grams of fat, and 4 grams of protein. And usually I'll just make the whole packet once. I pop it on a tray in the oven. It's just the easiest way to do it. And then I will have it ready in the fridge to add to breakfast if I'm doing like a quick breakfast bowl or just even scrambled eggs, a sandwich, a wrap. Or I like to use it for BLTs, for sandwiches, for burgers, or any dinners that I'm making that might have bacon. I also got some eggs, which are 0 points on WeightWatchers. I use them mostly for breakfasts. I end up making them into scrambled eggs. Although I said this last time that I was craving hard-boiled eggs and I never ended up making them, so I need to get my little hard-boiled egg maker down and just make some because I'm still craving them. But they're 0 points and a nice higher protein option. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the freezer items that I got today. So actually another protein option. I tried these for the first time last time that we went to Trader Joe's. They're their frozen turkey burgers, and I actually really liked them. I like that they're 0 points. That was really nice, but also just quick and easy to grab out of the freezer, pop on a pan on the stove, and just quickly cook it up. I made a burger bowl with some potatoes, some pickles, some pickled onions, and a little sauce. And then I actually had an extra Chick-fil-A honey roasted sauce packet, and I added that on top, and it was so good. It kind of made it taste like that fast food, but way less points, higher protein. And again, this is 0, so for one of them, it's 180 calories, 10 grams of fat, and 22 grams of protein. When I made that meal, I used up a bag of sweet potato fries that I barely had any left, and now I've just been craving sweet potato fries. So they have some in their freezer section that are just regular sweet potato fries. They do have some oil, so they've got points, which they are 4 points for the serving of 3 ounces, which is about 14 fries. It's 130 calories for that serving, 6 grams of fat, 19 carbs, 3 grams of fiber, 7 grams of sugar, and 1 gram of protein. So I'll probably just pop these in the air fryer, or if I'm making a lot of them, in the oven, and then they'll be a nice side with burgers, or again, as like the base of a bowl. I like to do that a lot and just cut up the burger on top, and then I don't need a bun, but it still is just super satisfying. It's always nice to have their frozen jasmine rice in the freezer. So this is their organic jasmine rice. It comes in 3 separate bags in here, and you just pop them in the microwave for 3 minutes, and then you've got some cooked jasmine rice. It is 2 cups, so for the 1 cup serving, half of it, it's 6 points on WeightWatchers, 210 calories, 46 carbs, 1 gram of fiber, and 4 grams of protein. And this is something that is just kind of like one of those backup items, like the frozen peppers and onions. If I don't have veggie mix prepped, I have those as an option. If I don't have jasmine rice prepped, which most of the time we do, but sometimes we don't, and then it's nice to just have this as a really quick and easy option in the freezer. I grabbed some of these hash browns. I feel like we haven't had these in a while, and these work so well for making copycat fast food breakfast recipes at home. I swear these taste just like the ones from McDonald's McDonald's. They work well to make like a sandwich with them, or sometimes I just want scrambled eggs, bacon, and a hash brown, and it just like satisfies my craving for that type of breakfast. So again, having these in the freezer is a really nice option. For one of these patties, it's 4 points on WeightWatchers, 120 calories, 6 grams of fat. It's got 15 carbs, 1 gram of fiber, and 1 gram of protein. Then this is another one of those options that's really nice when I just want to throw together a really quick and easy meal. So this is the asparagus risotto that's in the freezer section. For half of this bag, it's 5 points on WeightWatchers, 250 calories, 8 grams of fat. It's got 41 carbs, 2 grams of fiber, 4 grams of sugar, and 6 grams of protein. And usually I just cook it on the stove. You just have to add some water to it. And then it says it cooks in 6 to 7 minutes. And half the bag is a nice serving for 5 points. Sometimes what I'll do is I will add some additional vegetables to it. So maybe some like mushrooms or some bell pepper. And I just cook those in there with it while it's cooking. It does have asparagus, but then I top it with some type of protein or have some protein on the side. So even right now I've got some salmon prepped in the fridge, and that will be so good with this risotto. That's 0 points. This is only 5. It's nice to be able to bulk this up and still have just like a quick and easy meal that I can make. So I'll have the salmon with it, or even like chicken or something, and that way I'm adding a 0 point protein. I'm adding some veggies, and then all I have to track is the 5 points for this, which really isn't bad, but it's a nice filling meal. It's really easy to bulk these up. Okay, then my favorite part about the freezer section from Trader Joe's is all of the different little appetizer things. I did grab some of those. I've got the chicken shumai, which I really like. Usually Adam and I just split this box. For the serving of 6 pieces, it's 4 points on WeightWatchers, and there's 3 servings in here. But for that, it's 130 calories, 3 grams of fat, 16 carbs, 1 gram of fiber, 6 grams of sugar, and 11 grams of protein. So it does have a good amount of protein because they are chicken. They have another option. I think it's pork shumai, but we haven't tried those. They're pretty much just these like soft dumplings and kind of like pot stickers or gyoza, but we usually get this when we get all-you-can-eat sushi. It's one of our favorite appetizers, so it's nice that we can have this at home, and we'll do it with like an appetizer night, or if I make like fried rice or sesame noodles. It's just a nice option that always satisfies that craving. Then this was a newer product, and since we first tried it, I've bought it every time that we've been back. They are their shrimp noodle rolls. So it's shrimp and mixed vegetables wrapped in dim sum style noodles. It's 120 calories for 2 of these and 4 points on WeightWatchers. So each one is 2 points. 3 grams of fat, 19 carbs, 2 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of protein. And I just cook them up on the stove. I kind of like that they actually get a little bit crispy. So you can let them cook a little bit less and just keep them softer, but I like to get them just a little bit crunchy, and they have such good flavor. And again, it's just one of those things where it satisfies the craving for an appetizer out at like a Chinese restaurant, or like when we get sushi, but those are a little bit higher point because they use their oil, and you just don't know what exactly goes into it. So it's nice that I can just make these at home, and they're still a little bit lightened up, but they satisfy that craving. And then my favorite, these are their chicken soup dumplings. Whenever we have these, we each just have our own box. They are 7 points on WeightWatchers, and you get 6 of these dumplings in there. So it's just a tray that you pop in the microwave and heat up in a couple minutes. For the serving of 6 of them, it's 250 calories, 7 grams of fat, 29 carbs, 1 gram of fiber, 3 grams of sugar, and 16 grams of protein. And I just love the broth that's in them. I really just enjoy any type of dumpling like this in general. So these are a really nice option I'm happy we found, and we buy these seriously every single time we go to Trader Joe's. Okay, moving on to, I guess, a couple more pantry items. I did need some more chicken bone broth, so this is a nice higher protein option. For the serving, it's 0 points on WeightWatchers. I think the whole thing is actually 1 if you have this, but for a cup, which there's 2 cups in here, it's 45 calories and 10 grams of protein. And I really just like to use this for soup. I feel like that's what I do the most with it. So I'll do like some ramen with maybe some chicken and vegetables and stuff, and it's just really quick and easy, but I needed some more of this. Then this was something different. I actually haven't tried this from there, but even just the picture was kind of making me hungry and wanting to make some type of like couscous salad like this. So this is their pearled couscous. Usually I get the other one, which is a little bit more like fluffy. This is kind of more like pasta-like, I would say. For the serving of a 3rd cup dry, it is 5 points on WeightWatchers, 180 calories, a half gram of fat, 36 carbs, 1 gram of fiber, and 7 grams of protein. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with this yet, but I'm excited to come up with something. I honestly think this with some of the spinach, kale, and maybe like some chicken and veggies would be really good, but we'll see. And then I only have one box here, but I did buy 3 boxes of these this time. So these are my favorite item from Trader Joe's. They are their Thai wheat noodles. You get 3 packs in here, and each package is 8 points on WeightWatchers, 310 calories, 2 grams of fat, 63 carbs, 4 grams of fiber, and 10 grams of protein. And I really just like to make sesame noodles, which is so simple, but seriously one of my all-time favorite meals. So I'll start with some type of vegetable or protein. So it depends what I'm doing. If I'm doing like ground chicken, I'll start cooking that first, and then I'll add in maybe some cabbage, some peppers, some onions, edamame, mushrooms. So many different vegetables honestly go with them. Even like the stir-fry veggies I mentioned would be really good. But then I just cook that up with some soy sauce. I add a pack of these noodles in, or 2 packs, and then we usually have some leftovers if I do 2. So it's not always the whole 8-point serving that I'm using. It just depends what I make with it. But these also work good in soup, and they're just my favorite. Okay, a couple snacky things. So I really like the crunchy curls, especially for snack mixes. So my snack mixes, I like to do air pop popcorn, which is 0 points, and then I'll do like 2 or 3 different snacks and just weigh out like a point serving of them. And it just makes a nice, satisfying, salty, flavorful thing. These actually don't have much flavor, but they've got a nice crunch and saltiness, so that's why I enjoy them. And it's a nice low point snack that kind of helps to bulk up the snack mix. For the serving of about 31 curls, it's 3 points on WeightWatchers, 130 calories, 5 grams of fat, 19 carbs, a gram of fiber, and 3 grams of protein. And they're just made with lentils, so they do have like a slight lentil potato taste, but they're really good. I was surprised to see they still had these. So these are their fall leaf tortilla chips. Again, I just really enjoy how salty they are, and they're nice and crunchy, and I like using them for plates of nachos. For the serving of about 16 chips, it is 4 points on WeightWatchers. It's 130 calories, 7 grams of fat, 17 carbs, 2 grams of fiber, and 2 grams of protein. And we just always have some type of tortilla chips on hand. Sometimes I'll make like homemade salsa, and that's nice to have this to dip it in. Or even with some of the dips that we buy, we'll use tortilla chips, but I also like to use them for nachos the most. I feel like I haven't had these in a while. These are their sour cream and onion, lentil, and rice snacks. So they are gluten-free. They kind of remind me of a crouton. They're not like fluffy. If anything, they're just more on the crunchy side, but they have really good flavor. And sometimes I use them for like snack mixes, or I just snack on them. But other times I've actually used them on like pizza bakes when I want some type of like onion. Again, like a barbecue chicken pizza bake with it, or in a barbecue chicken wrap. These work really well. For the serving of an ounce, it's 3 points on WeightWatchers, and 130 calories. 6 grams of fat, 16 carbs, 2 grams of fiber, and 4 grams of protein. So I highly recommend these. These are probably my favorite, just like salty, crunchy snack that I've been buying for years now. And they even do work on like salads and stuff. Like I said, it's almost more like a crouton in my opinion, but super good flavor. I needed some more Panda Puffs for my yogurt bowls. So I think the serving is like 5 or 6 points for a cup, but I usually just weigh out a 2-point serving onto my yogurt bowl. But for that cup serving, it's 170 calories, 4.5 grams of fat, 31 carbs, 3 grams of fiber, 9 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of protein. And they're just like peanut butter puff cereal. So when I do the base of like berries or strawberries, and then I've got the yogurt and the peanut butter cereal mixed all together, it really does taste like a PB&J. It's got such good flavor. So this has become one of my favorite cereals to add on top of my yogurt bowls. I really do mix it up. I've got a few different options of different brands that I like, but this is always one of my favorites. Barrels have been my favorite protein bars for a while, but I feel like I really burned myself out of them, except for the salty peanut. These ones I still crave a lot. Lately, I've been eating a lot more of the Ready bars. I definitely have been preferring those, especially because I just love the iced oatmeal one. I still crave this salty peanut one a lot, so this has become one of my favorite flavors. I do like the creamy crisp, but for the serving of a bar, it is 6 points on WeightWatchers, 200 calories, 8 grams of fat, 18 carbs, 3 grams of fiber, 1 gram of sugar, and 20 grams of protein. This one tastes most like a Snickers if I had to compare it to a candy bar, because that's what I always say about Bear Bells is like when I'm craving a candy bar, this is like the healthier option with a lot of protein, and it still kind of satisfies the craving for it. And you can buy them individual from Trader Joe's, or you can buy the box, and I feel like it just keeps getting more expensive, so I was a little bit hesitant today, but I did just grab grab one because I have been wanting these. And then the last thing that I got, these are their butter almond thin cookies. And I just love to have these as a like quick sweet option if I just even want a couple of them. I just really enjoy these in general, but sometimes I'll even crumble them on top of my yogurt bowl or on top of my apple nachos, and they add a good sweet butteriness. They definitely have like kind of a strong butter flavor, but it's really good. So for the serving of 7 cookies, it's 6 points on WeightWatchers, 140 calories, 6 grams of fat, 20 carbs, 10 grams of sugar, and 2 grams of protein. Something I like to enjoy in moderation, but it is a nice satisfying snack, and I just like how they're nice and crispy. They're also really good with coffee. Okay, but that is everything that I got from Trader Joe's today. I'm feeling so much better now that our fridge is full. It has been so empty, and every time I go in there, I'm like, I just don't even know what to do. But it has helped me clear out my freezer a lot, actually, so that has been nice. I definitely needed to do this, but it's good now that I've got all of this for a week ahead. I feel prepared, and I feel like I have a lot of options for different breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.